alternative meaning to some words. And when Yoruba was used in an expression, an English language meaning to the word was provided in order to deepen the understanding of even a non-Yoruba reader of the book. In a remarkable and most appropriate manner, the book started with a disclaimer, and I quote, "It is not a book on Yoruba traditional medical therapy, and that the author and the publishers cannot take responsibility of adverse effects that may result from use of any of the volunteered recipes in the book, because the recipes have not been validated." End of quote. So in chapter 1, the book began with a vivid background in traditional religion as not to diminish. Indeed, the book asserts that the real test of the strength of traditional beliefs comes out in the time of trouble. The chapter concluded with emphasis that the Yoruba traditional healers, being part of the Yoruba cultural milieu, function. In chapter 3, it made a strong attempt at categorizing traditional healers among the Yoruba, despite the fact that many of such attempts have failed in the past. Interestingly, the list is disparate, and sometimes they are fixed, ranging from the herbalist to a spiritualist. The author must be commended for the wondrous task, considering the fact that in many cases there may be no distinctive line between healers in terms of the work they do. In chapter 4, in fact, chapter 4 is the first time the training of traditional healers is being reported, which is basically an apprenticeship system. The chapter made the point that though the knowledge that is being transmitted is not in the written form, the process of acquiring it exerts as much rigor, if not more, from the apprentice than in the students of Western medical training. The trainee is expected to learn by heart the various herbs, recipes, and incantations. The process becomes more laborious when one considers the different odors of Ifa divination. The central position of the graduation ceremony was also emphasized. There is no doubt that practice of traditional medicine is grounded in secrecy and mystery, and on many occasions, information is not provided for the non-initiates. It is to the credit of this book that the 5th chapter describes some of the methods being employed by Yoruba traditional healers in the diagnosis and investigation of diseases. Using more scientific approach, the author was able to gather extensive data on the various forms of ayewu by the traditional healers. Although various forms of investigation such as Osoyin, Ayilala, Igunu, Obiabata were mentioned, the chapter gave a more detailed information on the use of Ifa divination in investigation and diagnosis. The central role of Ifa in Yoruba mythology was highly acknowledged. Again, one has to commend the author for taking the trouble to explain in details and with clarity the purpose, the value, and the interrelationship between Ifa divination and modern science, making the reader to understand that Odu Ifa has a scientific basis, though its practitioners are not aware of this. Even though some aspect of Yoruba traditional medicine looks like a superstition, the author is quick to admit on its genuineness where scientific evidence is provided. A good example is the Ifa divination. All healers prescribe one form of medicine for any ailment. It is doubtful if any of them are adequately informed about it, that most of the diseases known to Western medicine are also known to traditional healers. He also informed the reader that there is a dearth of information on the knowledge of Yoruba healers on the causes of diseases and the symptoms and signs of various diseases known to them. It is to the author's credit that he authenticated some of this assertion through independent study and interviews to investigate the knowledge of the Yoruba healers on 14 key diseases, which are well described in this chapter. From the study, the author summarized the results obtained some positive results in the study. For example, the healer's recognition that early conception soon after a baby is born can lead to kwashiorkor. The chapter also recognizes that the traditional healers have accurate knowledge of symptoms and signs of diseases. Another outstanding display of empiricalness to illustrate a salient issue as observed in this chapter, is on the drug dosage as practiced by Yoruba traditional healers. The writer took examples directly from his research work to illustrate the danger in the lack of standardization of dosage of drugs used by traditional healers. Beginning from chapter 7, the book now moved away from the generalist view of traditional medical practice and discussed extensively on the specialty of obstetrics and gynecology in traditional medicine. Using a more scientific approach, it looked essentially into the knowledge and practice of antenatal care, perinatal care, care of neonates by traditional healers, and the knowledge of contraception, abortion, and infertility, and how they are taken care by the healers. The results from the study show that the traditional healers are sought to minimize the hazards to which clients are exposed through educating the healers on the areas of effect in their practice that have been identified. He also suggested that government at the different levels should incorporate the traditional healers into the healthcare delivery. The chapter also discusses other sensitive issues such as contraception, abortion, and infertility, and came out with strong recommendations and suggestions on how such issues should be handled even among the traditional healers. In chapter 8, he discusses in a dispassionate manner the act of bone setting, another form of traditional surgery among the Yoruba. The author described the different approaches used in bone setting within similar Yoruba environment. I also discussed in the chapter. The author did not forget to mention the traditional form of bullet extraction, which involves the use of incantation and command, something that is totally alien to Western medicine. In chapter 9, the author discussed the knowledge of traditional healers or lack of it in pharmacology. Carrying out a research study, he was able to show that the knowledge of the healers on general principles of pharmacology, which include routes of drug administration, mechanism of drug action, drug dosages, side effects, and testing of drug was very poor. It was clear from the result of this study that the healer's knowledge of pharmacology was totally out of tune with that of Western medicine. However, before the reader passes an unjustified value judgment, he or she was made to understand that the study itself was based on the writer's knowledge of Western medicine. The chapter also took the reader through a number of Yoruba pharmacopoeia, emphasizing that over the years, a rich catalogue of different plants and recipes of Yoruba have been documented. He therefore suggested that refreshers courses can be organized for traditional healers in such a way that any of their practices that are potentially harmful should be pointed out to them. In chapter 10, a number of miscellaneous issues which could not be easily categorized are put under this chapter. Issues like categories of people consulting traditional healers, annual income of traditional healers, and family history of members of the profession were craftily obtained from the research study conducted by the author. The recognition of collaboration between the orthodox doctors and traditional healers was exemplified by the acceptance among the two practitioners that there are areas where there should be mutual support. This chapter supported that most times traditional healers do not perform operations, while traditional healers also believe that orthodox may not also know about healing from troubles of witches or wizards. In a manner that is novel, the author also raised questions on the issue of ethics, comparability, and discipline among the Yoruba traditional healers, the different types of offenses, and the disciplinary measures against them were discussed. The author in this chapter also deliberated on professional associations. He took the pain to explain the different associations and their varying objectives, especially towards the protection of the welfare of the healers. And lastly, in the last chapter, the author drew the line of differences between the traditional medicine and Western medicine. He also discussed the reasons for mutual suspicion among the two practitioners. He had found that the vast majority of people are begging for medical care and the available professionals are few. He preferred that both forms of medicine are necessary for Africans, considering the advancement that science has brought into Western medicine, and that the Yoruba concept of traditional medicine is being to treat the sick and not just the disease. The author suggested that since practitioners of both medicine claim to work for the interest of the patient, there is need for the two of them to complement each other for the betterment of healthcare delivery in the country. In conclusion, Professor D.D. Oyebola has written a book on a complex subject in a very simple manner. He has brought into play his wealth of knowledge and experience in writing this book. His approach of using empirical data from his research to assert or deny various points has greatly enriched the book and stand it out from the previous work on the subject matter. Indeed, some of the issues raised in the books, such as the training of traditional healers, are being written upon for the first time. It is a must-read for all those who value good health, whether as health practitioners or professionals or laymen. Indeed, those who are interested in indigenous knowledge and its application. Therefore, I commend Professor Oyebola for writing such a wonderful book, and I recommend it to all of you. Thank you.
Assessment of the book. I believe that without even reading the book, we already have an idea of what is in that book, and I want to commend the Dean of Students for that. I want to commend him for knowing Oyo as much as the Oloyo himself. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, we have come to the main part of this program, and that is the book launch. If we come to this gathering and we don't go away with a copy of the book, it's like we have just come to look and not doing anything. I believe it is worthwhile based on the information provided in the book review and the excellent information given by the chairman, Professor Aderoye, on traditional medicine, and the need to marry both the traditional and orthodox medicine. The lectures we have had today is nothing compared to those things we get from books. He has given us his lecture from wealth of experience, and I want to appreciate that. So as we begin the process of book launch, I want us to really revisit our decision that we took while coming from home on how much we want to use to launch this book, having gained much from today's gathering, and add to the figures, maybe some zeros to the figures that we have written in the text. So it is time for us to revisit that checkbook and try to get more things here. We'll start as usual. I will start with the chairman so that you won't say we are starting from that top part. But there is the guest of honor and the chief launcher who has sent a representative, the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Ààrẹ Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá. Well, I've been corrected. He said, Ààrẹ ni mò ń pè bẹ́yẹn. Ààrẹ Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá. Ààrẹ Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá is ably represented by the Provost College of Medicine, Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá University, and is there in his capacity also as Provost of that college because he's part of the physiology family. So he will deliver the message sent by the Ààrẹ. He will do the formal presentation and launching, and will deliver his own personal message. Join me in welcoming to the podium Dr. Sawyer, the Provost College of Medicine, Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá University.
great-grandfather in the medical profession, Professor Adebile. Give me a second, let me think back. Celebrant, my grandfather, Baba Adebile is my great-grandfather, Professor Yebola is my grandfather, the medical and physiology profession. Needless to say again that Ààrẹ Afe Babalola is actually Ààrẹ Bamofin of Yoruba land. As the full rendition of the Ààrẹ. Needless to say that it's not here. All other protocol to be observed. In the profession. The entire high table and distinguished guests. Baba is not here. We all know that already. But I need to let you know that he's on our birthday absent. In fact, the speech I should have read on his behalf is in his possession as I talk to you now. Because he thought he would be able to come here personally. So it was when it became obvious that he couldn't come. And the Vice Chancellor will also have been the one to represent him while I represent the medical school. But as I talk to you again now, a billboard erected in honor of the Ààrẹ is being launched at the Gate House of the university. So I had to come as a trinity to represent Ààrẹ, the VC, and the College of Medicine. So, Baba's speech is still in his possession, but I haven't come here, I haven't seen, I will report back to him. And Baba, you know, is a son, and I must be careful what I say on his behalf. Because even as at now, he's still a lecturer in the law of evidence. So I have to pick my words very carefully, only to say that I read his lips while he was giving the instruction that I should be here, and I should thank Professor Yebola family for inviting a lawyer to be the guest of honor in an all-medical affair. And Ààrẹ Afe Babalola has a lot of respect. Why you can almost say he fears the people of the medical profession as second in command to God. He has a lot of respect for us, and he has a lot of respect for Professor Yebola. He actually, just before Professor Yebola came to see him, he had mandated us that we should get textbooks written by Nigerian authors, because our students are Nigerians and their orientation should not be too foreign. And when Professor Yebola came, it was an answer to that vision. And right now, the textbook of essential physiology, which Professor Yebola authored, is a must for every medical student in our college. talking about the book we are launching today. Are is so excited about it because he believes also that medical students in Nigeria should be taught traditional medicine. In fact, he has devoted some acres of land which we term botanical herbal garden, where all known herbs that are medicinally relevant, both in Nigeria and Africa, those that can grow there, we certainly find a place there. He is very much interested in that. And he appreciates the role that Professor Ebola is going to play in that project. Coming to the launching of the book, he is keeping under wrap what he wants to do concerning the launching of this book. But I can assure Professor Ebola that when he comes back, he's going to fulfill his pledge. He never fails to fulfill his pledge. And I'm almost certain he's also talking one-on-one with Professor Oyebola concerning the book and how he is going to launch it. And having said that, in my own capacity as a small man representing a big man, I want to set the ball rolling by launching a book when the time comes with what I have in the envelope in my hand. Okay, since my responsibility to do the launching on behalf of the director.
Let me humbly invite our Baba Professor Adeloye to the elders. The Yorubas, I like the adage. It's three elders that know the secret behind three. Agbababeta, nobody eta. My case, am I right? All right. So, the chief launcher is here, and the three elders are here. And I believe whatever they have done is sanctioned.
Afe Babalola, SASUN, and appreciation of this great effort of Professor Oyebola. I hereby unveil this book titled African Traditional Medicine Practices Among Yoruba, and launch it for the furtherance of knowledge among our people, both medical and non-medical, and to the glory of God Almighty.
On behalf of the governor of Ekiti State, I bring good tidings from Ekiti, the land of honor. The source of the author of the book, like we all know, we have been told he was born at Atogotun, schooled at Christ School in Ekiti, where the governor schooled, where Dr. Bibe was, and where Abba was. That's Christ School for you. And I think almost everybody here will have a relationship with Christ School, either by birth, by marriage, And I guess the academics who read the citations was either gone to Christ School or married a Christ School professor. I'm happy to be here on behalf of the governor. He's otherwise busy, so here I am his ambassador. So he's here. And we are happy that Professor Yebola wrote the book. He carried us along where he was choosing to take as the date of the launch. He was in Andrikiti in our office at least 2 times, and the governor was happy. The governor was happy to send me here. So they said the book is very crucial. I think it's almost a dangerous book. Dangerous in the sense that it went into some areas where ordinarily traditional people would not want people to know. So Professor needs our prayers. Please continue to pray for him so that nobody will visit him in the night. Because of all these no-go areas. But however, we are happy to have a book, and by the grace of God, we will continue to have good days ahead, sir. I wonder that they called Prof retired, and I know that only 70-year-old people retire from academics, at least formally. I don't know whether Prof is 70. The way it looks, it's not 70. So I don't know why he's retired. Anyway, professors will retire. On behalf of the government of Ekiti State, and it is usual that when a governor comes to a place like this, because today I'm the governor. The governor. When a governor comes to a place like this, that is the normal thing he does. He will launch at least 2 copies, and with 6 figures. 2 copies with 6 figures. So it is only Dr. Yebola, the governor, and probably myself who will know what figures are. I know it's not going to be 0006. No, it's going to be something good. So on behalf of the governor and the people, I launched 2 copies of the book with 6 figures. 6 figures. And that is how we talk. God bless you. God bless you. And God bless you. And before I go, I want to greet Baba again. Baba, Professor Adeloye, who was honored by Ekiti government recently. I'm seeing him again for the 2nd time. We only learn of people like this in history, but I'm happy that he's alive and I'm learning. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
Well, since I've been given the microphone, it's my turn. I've spoken before, I would like to speak again. I've gone through the book, and I'm happy Professor Yebola mentioned that we should not go and quote that book when we are practicing our medicine. Because one thing I know is that if we practitioners of orthodox medicine, if we can get a way of integrating traditional medicine to our practice, we shall be able to have something new to tell the entire world. Most of the medicine we are practicing now are scientific medicine. But I can imagine a situation where somebody will just be reciting incantations. And as you are reciting the incantations, the person you are mentioning name starts sleeping. He starts sleeping. If we can get a situation like that, we will not need to call an anesthetist.
I will just get to my theater and I want to operate on a pregnant woman. I will just start with incantation. The patient will sleep, and then I will finish my operation, and the patient will wake up. So we see that we really need to work hard on traditional methods. And this is not strange. I learned the history of neurosurgery. They started by hitting people on the head when they wanted to put them to sleep. I'm happy we don't do that nowadays. So Professor Yibola has really challenged many of us, especially in scientific medicine, to see what we can do to integrate, incorporate, and develop traditional medicine so that we have something to bestow to the coming generation. When it comes to the launching, well, I would say that it's being defined. We don't know yet. I would say I'm launching 1,000 naira to power X. The power of X will be made known to the author, and the check will be issued even before we leave this place. Thank you very much.
Well, that was a good start. I have been told
location, the distinguished author, and all the young people, the permanent governor of Ekiti State. We have been in other occasions where I was also representing the governor, so he is the permanent governor. I bring the compliments of the Executive Secretary, Professor Julius Okoji. He has 4 different programs today, and so he's not able to come personally. But he has asked me to congratulate Professor Yibola and to commend him for taking the time to write this important book. He says that this kind of effort should be encouraged within the university system. He would have loved to be here, like I said, because he actually got the invitation to this program via a text message, right? And he got the reminder also via a text message. And when he got the invitation, he was actually in the United States, and he called immediately to confirm that he will be here. Be that as it may, he has asked me to encourage the author. The National Universities Commission will buy 50 copies of this book for those universities of learning medical program, and have to collect the invoice for the 50 copies before I go. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Lagos State is also the chairman of the Lagos State Traditional Medicine Board, Dr. Omoseide. Please let's encourage him.
On behalf of the special advisor, I will buy 10 copies of the book, and on behalf of Lagos State Traditional Medicine Board, I will buy 10 copies of the book. Make it 20 copies.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The author, other members of the high team. Well, I'm not the high team. And I should make this clear before you do and will send for me. I'm an honorary chief of Ibadan. I'm not traditional, so I can never be Oluwadi. I'm very delighted to be here. I'm very, very happy to associate myself with this event because of Professor D.D. O.O. W.G.W.O., the author of this book. On behalf of the Central Council of Ibadan Indigenes, we will buy 4 copies for our library, and I will also buy 1 copy for myself. I will buy 1 copy as a pensioner for 10,000, and for CCI 50,000.
Professor Adebini, good afternoon, and all other members of the high team. I'm representing the Provost of the College of Health Sciences of African Memorial University, who would have loved to be here up to this morning. We're celebrating our Professor Yebola Tuki. Professor Oguni sends his regards and thanks for all that he's doing for us in our medical school, in our Department of Physiological Sciences. On this occasion today, I am going to follow in the steps of the governor of Ekiti State. Incidentally, about 3 weeks ago, we were celebrating the Ekitis in Ile-Ife. It was a grand affair with the registrar of the university also dedicating a book. I know that the representative of the governor was also there. And today I see again another Ekiti affair in the same month. So I congratulate the fountain of knowledge, whom are so closely related. It's indeed a fountain of knowledge. On behalf of the College of Health Sciences, we buy 4 copies of the book. The governor said 6 digits. I think we will say 4 digits. Thank you very much.
4 digits raised to whatever power. Let me add that to the figure. Well, the blood of Christ has covered the men of God in our midst, and I would like to shield them from coming declare or to launch books with money. But I know that this is also an academic event, and not just an academic event, an ordinary academic event, but something I know the postgraduate school will benefit from. The students in the postgraduate school. So it will be out of order if I don't invite the dean of the PG school to come and give a speech and also his remark concerning this launching. I welcome the dean of the PG school to give us some remarks. It's not to launch.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson, the chairman of today, my former visitor, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the high table and on the other side of the table. On behalf of the postgraduate school of this great university, we would like to congratulate Professor D.P.O. Oyebola, who, of course, on aggregate is one of our assets as a postgraduate teacher in this great institution. Professor Adada said that it's not just his teacher, but his mentor. And it's an ongoing exercise. Once you're a teacher and a mentor, it's a lifelong affair. So we still feel his impact directly and indirectly through the people he has mentored and he continues to mentor. So we congratulate him on this occasion. And we know that there's no doubt that this is a tremendous contribution to the knowledge and information about traditional medicine in Nigeria today. I'm aware now that in the Center for Sustainable Development of this university, resident in Awolowo Road, Bodija, they have a program in indigenous knowledge. The director is not here today, Professor Olabodo Kukola, who incidentally is immediately past dean of the program. I'm sure he and members of the team will be interested in this in the purchase of a number of copies of this book. So even though I've not been asked to do a launching, I will interact with Professor Kukola when he's back in the country. I will certainly get a number of copies of this book for that center, especially the indigenous knowledge program, because the university also believes that we should continue to promote our own indigenous knowledge, just like India has done, China has done, and everybody there buys Tianchi and all these other forever living products. We believe that good things can also come from Nigeria, and it starts from things like this, like harnessing the information that we have, so that people can also do more research, and then we can bring products that we can be proud of. So once again, I congratulate you, sir, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much, sir. I think he has tackled the issue on a particular front that we need to develop our own traditional system of medicine. If you go to India, you hear what we call Ayurvedic medicine. And I know in the Chinese setting, there's a name they give to it. I know there is the Eurasian medical practice in China. So I don't know the name that we're going to give to the Nigerian. So maybe it's the Noli Vedic or whatever the name will be. But I know one day we're going to develop our own traditional system that will be fully recognized worldwide. Thank you very much, sir. We acknowledge the purchase of a copy of the book by Professor S.S. Ogogu. We appreciate you, sir. We know the ushers are passing the tray around. Please, as you make the purchases, let us have details of purchases so that we can acknowledge them. While the launching was going on, it would be out of order if I don't invite him or recognize him. Professor A.A. Fasamadi, I believe is still around. Professor A.A. Fasamadi, you are appreciated. Please come to the front. Please acknowledge him. That's the head of my department. You're welcome, sir. Christ School at Duality. Yes, they've been making noise. Yes. They've been making noise. They launched a copy of the book for 10,000 naira, the Old Student Association. I know that Dr. Gwebe had covered them up. He launched the book with many powers raised of certain figures. So that is also Christ Ejia. I recognize the presence of Professor Babatola. I actually did not know that he was seated there until he was spotted. Please, we want you to come to the front seat here. He happened to be a bosom friend of the author, a former director of the Nigerian Institute of Agricultural Research. We appreciate you, sir. Please, it's another obstacle. Thank you very much, sir. Please, before I call on the author to give his remarks, let me appreciate all of us who have bought copies of the books. And as the books are being purchased, we'd like the ushers to come forward with the purchase order, field purchase order, for us to make adequate acknowledgement. I hand over.
Teacher and mentor, Professor Adeola Adedoyin. Distinguished guests on the high table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I first and foremost want to thank all of you for honoring our invitation to attend this event. I wish to give all honor and adoration to the Almighty God that has made it possible for me to write the book we are launching today. It is the work I did for my MBA physics a few years back. Incidentally, one of the young men that assisted me on that occasion as an undergraduate is here today. Dr. Oluwatoyi, I don't know whether he's here. Please stand up for the occasion. That's Dr. Obi, Dr. and one other young man. We all went on the whole place and so on and so forth. He retired as a medical colonel in the army a few years back. Thank you for being here today.